I'm very glad to have Dave Nave from Dave Nave and Associates talk about indispensable management. And I'm going to bring up the slide that you've seen before, which has the cover of his book and some information that you can reach back to. And so, Dave, take it away.
Today, I'm going to illustrate a principle of management that is not well understood, or it happens frequently and nobody really ever sees it. It involves creating competition between departments versus the cooperations. Now, this is an illustration, so this is not a case study. It's not real, but I'm trying to convey a principle, a set of ideas. So I made a company up, and it's a bread manufacturing global, and I am the manager and the only manager of a local division or local plant, and all we do is purchase material, bake it, and deliver it. Everything else, human resources, accounting, sales, is handled at the corporate level. We do have a pay for performance system in place. Workers work through a lead operator type of a situation. Okay, so the corporate came down last year with a big, hairy corporate improvement goal. So as the plant manager, I went out and asked every department to come up with ideas about how to improve the company. And on the left is ideas that came up from each group. Purchasing had 3, baking had 2, and delivery had 3. So when we said that it's going to be a positive output, if we optimize our area, then the company's going to do better. So I made those in big green pluses. And if it was a real life situation, of course, it would have some sort of performance number there. Could be dollars, could be whatever. I look at these and I say, okay, this is great. Continue on, everybody up and implement them. And what I found was one of the department started complaining about the changes that purchasing was implementing. And it was something's not right. So I say, okay, I'm going to investigate. I'm going to go out and take a look at the 3 areas that purchasing decided they're going to improve, the 3 attributes that they're going to change and improve, and exactly what was the effect that was having on the baking department. Well, in this case, it's negative. So I'm going to, and again, it would be real numbers, but I'm just going to use positive and negative. And we found out that the 3 areas that purchasing had changed for improvement of their area was actually hurting the baking department. So now I said, well, okay, that's not right. How are these 3 projects affecting the delivery department? So we go out and we take a look and see that it's helping help the delivery, it's different stairs, different situations. So I said, well, gee, I wonder how the other projects are doing. So I go out and take a look at all the projects that were originally planned. Those are the big green plus signs. And we said, what effect is that having on individual departments? And you can see we got a whole table full of pluses and minuses. We said, well, that's weird. I wonder what it looks like when we look at the overall system. What effect is it having on the overall company performance? So now we go out and we say, purchasing project A was a positive for them. It was a negative for baking department, and it was negative for delivery. So overall for the company, it turned out to be negative. Now purchasing's plan B worked good for them. It hurt baking, and but it did help delivery. So it's positive for the whole company. So we go through one by one and take a look at how this all pans out at the end. This is the end of the year now. This is how it actually ended up. Total up what happened. So the net effect on the company by the time you take -1, +1, -1, -1, go through it. You end up with a double negative. You got two negatives. The delivery department, they ended up with a wash. The baking department ended up with 4 of our measurements in the negatives. So it really hurt them. And of all the improvement projects, all 8 of them that we did, purchasing ended up with a +2. Now I'm the supervisor or the manager of this entire department, and I say this isn't really fair because everybody was going out doing the best they can. For the year, I'm just saying let's just spread the -2 over the 3 departments. I don't know if you've worked in these situations or not, but the corporate weenie comes in. Oops, I wasn't going to say that. Sorry. The corporate guy comes in and takes a look at what happened, and of course, it looks terrible. I get raked over the coals because I had a performance goal that was supposed to be done, and I didn't meet it. But however, I say, well, I learned something. I got a plan for next year. It's a little different. So give me a chance. Let's try it for next year and see what happens. I believe I can turn it around. So we go for year 2. Same thing. We're going to start over again. This time, we're going to come up with a whole new set of ideas. And you can see each of the departments came up with ideas. But this time, before we even start to implement them, we're going to coordinate with the other departments to see what they think the effect would be on their department. And as you can see, purchasing's idea number I was good for them, and it hurt baking and hurt delivery. However, their idea number J for year 2 was good for them, hurt baking, but it helped delivery. So overall for the company, it was good. So we go through this matrix and we decide, okay, before we do anything, before we go out and implement this stuff, we're only going to implement the stuff that works for the company. The ideas that they had that don't help the overall company output, we're not going to do. We're not going to throw them away, but they're good ideas, but we're just not going to do them this year. We'll address it a little later. So at the end of the year, this is what happens. So at the end of the year, we have a 3 positive. Delivery had a positive. The baking department only had 1 loss. Well, it's an improvement, right? But still, sorry for them. Purchasing ended up with 3 positives. So again, we have 3. We're in this as a team. We're in this together. So I'm going to spread the distribution out into 3s. And of course, the corporate guy comes down. He's happy. He likes what the results are, and he says, "Okay, I got a new goal for you. Do it again next year, except do it better this time." So I've got an idea about how that'll work. Now, so we have year 3. We've got a brand new, big, hairy corporate improvement goal. But during the whole process, the people, the different departments started talking to each other and said, and purchasing came up and said, well, if I actually lowered the performance on one of my measures, it would help baking and delivery, and thus help the entire company. Here are some 3 new ideas. I hate to do this, but our purchasing is a little leery about doing this, but they say, okay, the group decides, okay, let's try it. So the other groups go out and they come up with ideas. In addition to ones that helps their performance, they come up with ideas that may be negative to them, but positive to the overall organization. Before we start anything, again, we're making these projections. We're going to select only the projects that help the overall company. We're going to do the other projects. And they do it, and they come out with these great numbers. In the end, now we end up with 8 positives, whatever the number is. Delivery had 4. At least we got the baking department up to a break-even point. That's good. And purchasing had 4. So now for the entire company, we have an 8 positive, which we distribute over 3. I distribute it over the three departments as far as the performance appraisals are concerned. So the takeaways that I want is that when all departments are optimized, the organization will not be optimized normally. Cooperation between departments helps the overall health of the company so that everybody wins, and that you may have to sacrifice some sort of performance measure on your part to help, or your department to help the overall company succeed. And what I've listed here is on the second bullet is that the company is a system with interactions and interdependencies. There are many systems or many things that management implements that actually destroys that systems approach. One of them is competition between departments. Now, during the example I just showed you, I just kind of fell into it because I didn't know anything else to do. But I've seen some companies that really want to make a competition between departments with goals and winnings, and this department wins an extra day off or whatever. Something else that destroys the system is everybody doing their best. Pay for performance, incentive pay, merit pay, annual appraisals. This is management by objectives and management by results. Those are some really common things that are put into place, management practices that really interfere with the thinking of the organization as a system. Now, did I go? And that's all I have.
I think that's fascinating, and it was very clear. And I was trying to figure out how it was ever going to be positive. Dave, you did a great job.